Welcome on in, everybody. This is Air Angel. Welcome to the Air Show, aka the Vroom Vroom broadcast. Unofficial title. I am doing a submission video for Dogurai. Beat the game, bad ending, normal writer. So as you saw, that there are two characters that you could potentially play as for this game. The first being Bones, which is the character that you start off with when you first start playing this game. And then you unlock Ryder, which is the character I'm currently playing. We throw ninja stars as opposed to Bones, who uses a katana sword. Your first playthrough of this using Bones is probably going to be a lot more difficult than what you're going to see today. Just in my opinion, it's just range attacks versus melee kind of thing. So right now this is called a quick time event. It happens every now and then throughout the run with those heavies, as well as some boss battles. I try to avoid them as much as possible by either jumping over them or just staying away far enough so I can throw these stars at them. But that's kind of like a skip right there as an example. So for this boss you just spam and try not to get hit as many times, but Dogurai is a indie retro style platformer. It has an amazing soundtrack, as you can tell so far, and it was definitely made with portable games in mind from like the 90s. So that's the map you just saw right there. We are now in the desert, some sort of cliche areas. There are 8 sections in this game that we will have to clear. In the dystopian future, there are armies and police that were replaced by robots and machines, and their creator decided to take over the world, you know, as per tradition with things. So when you play as Bones, or Ryder I guess, they're both retired dog samurai from special forces, which is why we can do all these awesome things and fight all these baddies. It's pretty fun. And we have to go at this alone. We're the only ones that can defeat this boss, and my favorite parts of the game is coming up. I myself am an avid motorcyclist and get to ride a motorcycle. Boom boom! Oh, this gets me every time. There's a couple routes that you can go here. You can stick to the bottom route or top route, or even a mixture of the two, which is probably what I'm gonna do considering my health bar. So this particular category is just beat the game. If you want to unlock Ryder, you would have to basically get 4 particular discs to add spoilers. You have to save him in order to play as him, but I'm not going to talk about that anymore so I don't spoil it for you. So we got our health pickup. But yeah, so basically you go into these different areas, like it's a city, urban sewers, military facilities, factories, desert. We're gonna be in space at some point. It's pretty awesome. So this, you just jump, don't crash. If you crash your motorcycle at any point during that, you have to go restart the whole thing, so that's a huge time waste. And as you can tell, most of my movement is basically avoiding things and trying not to take as much damage. There's a decent amount of health pickups in this game, which is nice. But again, when you play as Bones to begin with, it's actually quite difficult, just because you can't preemptively get rid of enemies in front of you, kind of thing. Sometimes you get smacked around. But this game definitely reminds me of more of a Mega Man-esque game, especially with the boss battles and the different platforming styles. And later on in the game you'll see a lot more of what I'm talking about. Another boss. So most of these bosses are RNG. They have basically the same moves that you can, you know, gauge where you need to stand and where you need to throw. So they're recognizable patterns. I was luckily able to get a 2 cycle here. So this is the ice level, which is notorious. I'm bad at ice levels, just in every sense of the word with games. So I'm gonna do my best here. But the one major tricky thing about this is like the physics of the ice levels. Oh, that's alright. We got the initial mistake out of the way. The thing with this particular ice level is that you can use it to your advantage, or it can royally mess you up. And what I mean by that is you can go basically as fast or as slow as you want. There is one trick I hope to show you in this, maybe not if we don't get it, since this is a no reset run, but it is pretty cool. And basically you just jump on the platforms and hope for the best and try not to fall. Oh, and yeah, you can still get hit by those little bomb guys, even if you've gotten rid of the baddie, they leave the bomb behind, so you still get hit. And try not to get caught in this frozen air type stuff. It's not good. So this part right here is a little tricky coming up. Mainly, again, dealing with trying to avoid these air vents as well as icicles trying to fall on top of your head, which isn't nice. But unlike the Mega Man games, you only get one power, and like with this character again, you only get these stars, and with bones you get a katana. Alright, so this part is where it could be really cool if I get this correctly. Doesn't look like I did, but it's alright. So basically what happens here is if you do this correctly, you could jump all through this and this area that I'm gonna slide through. You could potentially go through most of this and just fly through the air. So I hope to show that off during the marathon if this gets in. And more precision platforming coming up. I missed a cycle. Anytime I miss a cycle with these air vents, it's a little tricky because you have to do a lot more waiting than you usually do instead of just jumping through it, but I think we ended up getting a decent cycle here, so we're just gonna try to temperament these ice physics and just jump up on this platform to the boss of this level. I usually pick up the health just in case this RNG is bad. So this particular boss basically just throws stuff at you and it's almost like little Wolverine type slashes. Oh, this is actually pretty good. That was actually a pretty good fight. Okay, so the lava level is notoriously difficult in terms of not getting hit by projectiles in the air. So hopefully we'll fare well today. These little inferno looking guys, if you don't get rid of them, they will chase you, basically. Oh cool, we made it. Awesome. So that part right there is a little tricky depending on that last hit, but I was able to not step on the block. So with this heavy, you could slide under. I didn't do that, so we had a quick time event, which is fine. You didn't lose that much time. We got a decent cycle there with the little slime ball guys. If you're just a little late there, honestly, you just keep getting smacked around. And so now we're running away from the lava monster. And by lava monster, I just mean like a wall of lava, honestly. So you want to try to just keep moving forward, kind of thing, without getting smacked around too. Oh, alright. That's alright. But yeah, this part's a little tricky, especially when you first start out with bones. There are multiple categories for this game, so again, this is beat the game bad ending, and then you can play as both Bones and Ryder, and then there's beat the game good ending with both characters as well. So there's all different kinds of categories. The main difference between the normal versus hard version is basically you only get 7 lives or 6 lives to start in the hard version, which doesn't sound like much to a lot of people, but this game is actually pretty difficult, especially with Bones again. But I like playing as Ryder because he has a really cool weapon set. Definitely worth playing though. This is out on basically every major console. I'm currently playing this on PC with my 8-bit Do controller. I do recommend using a D-pad of any sort, analog stick, though I haven't tried it. Oh, that was dumb. Oh well. An analog stick is okay, but with a lot of the movement, I find it easier to use a D-pad, especially for the sliding. That was a silly mistake, but it's alright. So for this Firebird, again, RNG in terms of the attacks. That attack kind of sucks because you can't really hit it, but it's alright. So basically the biggest time save in this game is not letting the bosses go do like their special attacks, quote unquote, where like you can't hit them at all. So now we're in this factory-like place in the sky. Really cool. And I really like the pixel art and the colors in this game. Every level has a different color, but you could also select the palette, like in terms of if you want the original green palette at the very beginning, or even these other selected colors. So it's really cool that you can do that. And the little sound that Ryder makes when he goes inside the tubes is pretty funny. Like bloop. This is more like a water level-esque type. Though water doesn't, you know, slow us down or anything. The main things that slow us down are these little robots that float in the sky. So some platforming while trying not to get hit by them. It's a little tricky. But waiting for a good cycle, especially for no reset marathon runs, is usually preferred. We can get it, yep. That robot sometimes comes out of nowhere and hits you. But honestly, the platforming in this game is a lot of fun. It's pretty fair. Some parts you have to definitely reach and use the double jump. So these little presses, if you get hit and squished by them, you have to start this whole section over. But on normal mode, you get infinite amount of lives, so if you keep dying over and over, it's really not that big of a deal. So just waiting for a good cycle, because there's also a different direction in terms of the conveyor belt next to it. Alright, so for this boss, it's heavily RNG, but again, you can figure out the patterns and kind of go with it. So you can tell which one is real here by looking at the boss itself and see which one's not as translucent, but sometimes it's just better to guess. Right now we're not guessing very well, but that's alright. Not die? Okay, we did it. Yay! So now we have to go back to the center. So after we finished all of those on the outside. This section's a little interesting, with the mini-boss coming up. With Bones, it is it's a lot more difficult because you'll see in a couple seconds. But basically what it is a bear that throws its hands at you, and as Bones, you basically have to stand on the hands in order to reach the top of the enemy. And I'm telling you guys this now because when we get there, you'll see how quick this quick kill is gonna be with Ryder. But when I was first starting to play this game with Bones, it was incredibly difficult, and I didn't really understand what I needed to do. But you basically just have to target the very top little light bulb thing right there, and just like that, the bear is down. So this next section coming up is probably the most difficult in the entire game, platforming-wise, because mostly you have to dodge a bunch of lasers coming at you, as well as trying to stay on these tiny little platforms that are going back and forth. So we are now in a jungle type setting, so we kind of hit all of the classic bases in terms of atmosphere. So with this part, you just want to get a good rhythm. Preemptively shoot that guy right there. If you jump, that enemy can just target you, and you'd have to start all over at the very beginning. There are pretty fair checkpoints in this game. Anytime you get past a majorly difficult area, it does autosave, which is nice. But this part right here, kinda tricky. You see stuff is shooting at us while we're trying to stay on this platform, and we got it first try, which is pretty awesome because this section is usually a run killer. So far, so good. And for the double jumps, a lot of times you definitely have to... Come on. You definitely have to make sure you're jumping at the peak of your... at the peak height before you keep going. But this part is also, once again, tricky because you got these lasers, and you also need to jump. Oh, I got. That's okay. The autosave point's not too far away. Hopefully we can get it on this try. So either you have to go right away like I just did there, or you have to go a little bit delayed and shoot the eyes when they open to get rid of them. So basically I have to get rid of these orbs. Teleport. Another cool thing about this game is just as like different mechanics, like you have to turn off different switches, you have to defeat certain mini bosses, and just stuff like that. So it's not like the same throughout the whole game. Now we open this door, and we can drop. I'll just do a quick time event with this heavy. I could probably make it over it, but and I'm gonna pick up this health because so this boss is another RNG heavy boss. We really don't want the boss to go underground and then come back up. They end up doing something like a quick time event like we did with the heavies, but we don't want that because they would just lose time. So far so good though, and I think, yeah, we got it. So that was pretty good for us. Alright, so this part definitely reminds me of Mega Man, especially Mega Man 2, with all the lasers. But this part, get past it as fast as you can without getting hit too much, basically. And we're gonna head on over to a classic boss rush, which is always fun. And one thing with this area, there are several health pickup points, which might be enticing to new players, but don't pick them up because it's bait. It's a trap. So now we're on these little glider things that you need to try not to die while getting shot at, and lasers coming from every direction. It's a little chaos and mayhem, but we're gonna get through it. Alright. Let's see if we can get past this part without dying. Oh, it's spicy. We got 1 health point left. Let's see if we can make it to the next checkpoint without beefing it. Oh, come on, heavy. Excuse me. Thank you. So far so good! Blah. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the next checkpoint, so we should be fine. Wherever this goes. Alright, a little slow here because we only have 1 health point, but at least we haven't died yet, so that's good. Always good. I think when I get to the bosses though, I might just... Yeah, so I'm gonna take damage. Yeah. Because I want to go into these boss battles at least with half a health. It doesn't really matter which order you do them in. I tend to go from easiest to most difficult, and even then they're not that difficult with Ryder, so you can just go with whatever pace you're at. And there's health pickups on each station, so if you're struggling, if you die, the boss that you completed or defeated stays defeated, so it's not like you have to redo this entire boss rush. Like, you don't game over at any point with normal mode, which I'm playing on, as opposed to hard mode, which you would definitely game over because you only have a certain amount of lives, so if you run out of lives, stay livey. But yeah, basically the same strategy with these bosses. Try to whack them as fast as you can. Able to get a 2 cycle on that one, which is nice. Some of that particular boss's attacks won't let you get the 2 cycle, but we've had some pretty good luck with it. Once again, this RNG boss from the water cloud level. Oh, it's something to note, in the game description on Steam, the characters have a boopable snooter, so you can boop the snoot as them. They're good dogs. Bones and Ryder are best dogs. Okay, one more boss rush, quote-unquote boss, and then we actually have another boss before we end up in the space station. You heard me right. We're gonna be in the space station soon. It's gonna be awesome. So this boss giving us a little RNG. Not great. Basically every attack it could possibly do that won't let us hit it. Oh, especially this one. Alright, I gotta not die. It's a spicy run. Oh, okay. Alright, we're fine. We're fine. We're good. Everything is fine. Oh, and you can slide under that little orb thing. Sometimes I try to jump over it, it doesn't work out. You should just really slide under it. Okay, so more sliding. We don't have a whole lot of health for this next boss. So to try to combat dying and wasting a bunch of time. I might take an intentional death coming up soon at the checkpoint, so I just don't continue to waste time. But I gotta get past these cards, so I'm gonna pick this up. Because this upcoming boss is RNG central once more. You could basically get stuck not being able to hit him for a couple minutes or a couple seconds. So I kind of want more health in this, so I'm gonna just run into him real quick. So it only took 3 hits to get got. But yeah, so in this state that it's in currently right now, you can't hurt him. So you need the eye to come out of his little gelatin-like body. We got a pretty good position there, so we actually might be able to 2-cycle this boss, depending. Oh wow, okay, so we got really good RNG in this run. We're in there. We in there. That is to date the fastest I've ever defeated this one particular boss, so that's cool. Because most of the time you just sit there waiting for him to come out of his protective goop shell thing. Alright, so gotta select our final mission in space towards the end of the run. This part coming up is rather sad. So you saw at the water/air level, we picked up this disc. There are 4 discs in the original levels that you can collect to save Bones or Ryder when you first play this, so spoilers, this is the bad ending and it's really sad. Ryder's best friend Bones becomes a robot evil dog that wants to kill us. And we couldn't save our friend, so we have to fight him. And it's just honestly heartbreaking every time I have to fight this. Because Bones is a good dog. I didn't mean to enter a quick time event, but I guess it's warranted. Bones. Sorry, Ryder. Okay, so this last boss coming up is kind of a joke with Ryder because it is incredibly simple compared to the rest of the game, but with Bones it is incredibly difficult because, again, the whole melee versus so close versus range attacks. Heavy's being a bully. This Heavy probably gave me more trouble than the actual boss will. There's 2 phases of this boss. One's this little ghosty looking Grim Reaper type, and another is this robot that you probably won't see a whole lot of. So you can still hit them while they're off the screen, but time is gonna come up as soon as I place the final hit, which is time. I stopped my timer a little late, but that's okay. But yeah, so that is Dogurai. Thank you for watching, whoever's watching this. And I hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoy it. Again, it's on basically every major platform. And I encourage everyone to play it at least once if you really like these kind of games. Thanks!